You're watching Michael's Basement Review, brought to you by GeekMontreal.com. Okay, Excelsior. We got a few comic books I'd like to talk to you about. First one being Daredevil 112, which is by Brubaker and Michael Lark and Stefan Gaudiano drew the issue. Very, very beautiful art. So, tip of the hat to them. So, this is introducing Lady Bullseye, which is a second generation character coming off the original Bullseye. What I like how they're doing this, usually when they do a second generation character or a supervillain, like they recently did something with Kraven in Amazing Spider-Man, and I felt it was very cheesy, and they could have done a lot better. But how they're doing it with this character, which is making her very interesting, and I want to learn more about her, is that her story is the secondary story. It's not really taking place full front. In this issue, we have the Hand, which got divided up into 4 different factions from the Skrull event. And they're fighting each other. And I guess the faction that she belongs to in the Hand is trying to do something to win, to have the Hand stop fighting and become whole again. And there's a lot of really cool things going on. Like that's one of them. And then another thing is too that they're kidnapping metahumans who are good fighters and making them fight each other or fight the Hand as some sort of test. And it has a really, really cool ending that I liked a lot. An old blind Chinese man, martial artist, he's a kung fu martial artist master. He's in Matt Murdock's apartment and he's asking Matt Murdock to help him bring down the Hand and get him beer. So I liked the ending a lot and made me laugh. One thing though is that in the previous issue, Dakota North and Matt Murdock had an affair, and Matt cheated on his wife, who's in the mental institution. I don't mind about that. That happens. Yeah, that happens all the time. But it wasn't really awkward between Dakota North and Matt Murdock. I mean, they knew what they did was wrong, but they didn't really. They just, I'd be super embarrassed about it. And if I ever cheated, I'd just be really embarrassed with the other girl that I cheated with, and I wouldn't be able to look her in the eye. So it didn't feel real. I don't know. There's something missing there. I didn't like how they interacted afterwards. They seemed like oh, we just had an affair, or let's work through it. We did something wrong, but. Final Crisis number 4 of 7. Okay, so this is DC's big event book. It really doesn't feel like a big event book because there's a lot of problems that with J.G. Jones, who's supposed to draw the series, he's becoming very, very late, and this issue, number 4, became late. And also, this is going to be a little weird comment. I think Final Crisis is too self-contained. Like, you don't see it affecting the other regular monthlies, so it feels less of a big event. But the big problem with this is, of course, J.G. Jones, and he won't even be drawing issue 7, and he has no comment about that. But shit happens. That being said, I still like the story a lot better than Secret Invasion. After reading this issue, you have a really clear understanding of what's going on in the story. Grant Morrison comes up with these. He's like one of my favorite reasons for, because he really comes up with these weird little concepts and he just goes with it. I mean, except for sometimes he goes a little too far. Like for example, Superman Beyond 3D. I think he just went a little too off the deep end, and then you can kind of get. It's just like him trying to be smart for the sake of like, oh, look at this crazy concept that I could come up with, and it loses enjoyment. There's a lot of cool little moments within the issue that, like I really like how the Reverend was commenting the transformation of weak human flesh into Darkseid. Like the whole guy was becoming Darkseid. Grant makes the Ray is the human generator. That's another thing. The super criminals, and because of that, they find out like super criminals have this secret internet called the Ubernet. I like the Justifiers and the Super Justifiers. They're the villains. They're like the legions of the Darkseid's army, or Darkseid's army, and they're really, really scary. I get freaked out, And I like the people when they become Darkseid slave. They have this anti-life chant where free will is slavery, you know, and they just say this stuff over and over again, and I think it's really effective. I like the moment where the Green Lantern makes a speech to the last remaining 6 watchtowers, like a very call to arms speech, and yeah, I mean I could go on, but whatever. I really enjoyed it. The art inside is for issue 4 is absolutely gorgeous. It's a beautiful, beautiful art book. Oh, and there's also this is a really good quote from Barry, the Flash. The curse of the Flash family. Everything gets done on the run, and life happens in the rearview mirror. I think that really like sums up the Flashes perfectly, and I really enjoyed that. One thing I don't like is that there's a great battle between good and evil. We never saw it. I think that's a stupid thing. I mean, it would have been really cool to see that. I like fight issues. I like big. There's a little bit of fighting going on in here. There's also this really other cool moment where like Black Adam's just like he's trying to like he's deciding if he should join the war, but he's the only thing that interests him in joining the war is that they're gonna lose, so it's like a suicide mission. And he's like, oh, I'll join that. Sounds like crazy fun. Okay, but anyway, I mean, if you know, I like it.